Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Real CFO Podcast. I'm excited about our guest today, Jason Hamer. Hamer, right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, Hamer. Yep.
Jason Hamer. He is a business owner. Kind of went through the world of entrepreneurship, similar to a lot of us, and we're gonna, jump in and learn a little bit about his background, our background, and how we can. Assist businesses along that journey. Our North Star, our goal is to optimize the growth and financial well-being of those we serve, whether that's our clients, our team, or our community. So I know Jason will help us do that today. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you very much, Chad. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast today, and excited to have a conversation with you and learn more about you and your business and share a little bit about what I do. So
the focus today, I really want to kind of dive in because this is kind of your space, and we'll get there through stories and whatever revelations and see where it unfolds. But moving your business forward, right? Many times, especially folks young in the entrepreneur space, just have an idea. I want to do something, right? So they do something, and then it's like, okay. You learn what's next. It's all a continuous story of imperfect action. You had some experience similar to that, like most entrepreneurs, but there's lessons that you learned along the way, and now you're helping small businesses with those lessons. So tell us a little bit about your journey, where you're at now, and what you do to help entrepreneurs maybe avoid some of the mistakes that we all make or have made, or at least how to expedite the process from identifying those challenges and working through them a little bit quicker than maybe you and I had to when we were going through the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a business coach. My wife and I started Hamer Business Toolbox a little over 2 years ago, and she's our content creator, and I coach small to mid-sized businesses. And but taking a look back, so I was in the banking space for about 19 years, mainly on the retail side of things, doing about every position you could possibly do within the retail banking side. But the majority of it was working with businesses, leading teams, and helping leaders develop. Now, during that time as a branch manager, I started working with businesses more and kind of got that entrepreneurial itch where I wanted to start a business with myself. So, because I thought, being on this side, I knew everything that there was to know about running a business, clearly, until I started one.
Yeah, right.
Started up a barbecue business, and because I love cooking. And once I started it up, I realized there is so much more to this than what I even realized, but I fell in love with the process, and just being able to experience all of the ups, downs, the trials and tribulations of a business owner right alongside my banking clients. And it was something that we did part-time right along with my time in banking, but it's something I really loved. And, we started a food truck before food trucks were really a thing. And by the time we finished, we were, even set up 10, 15 days out of the year. We were top 3 Siouxland Choice Awards up in Sioux City, 9 years straight, winning it 1 year. And just had a tremendous following. But really my passions were leading elsewhere. So we actually sold that business and exited the banking space by taking a giant leap of faith and walking away from a senior vice president role at that particular time. And, like I said, wanted to help businesses and business owners in a much different capacity than saying yes or no to their loan.
No, that's awesome. So you basically went from banker to barbecue to, I wouldn't say broke, but you kind of abandoned everything and like, I'm all in on this thing, right?
Absolutely.
You wanted to help businesses, you wanted to follow your passion, but how'd you make that decision? Because that's not easy, right? To
Right.
follow your true purpose and passion, because you have responsibilities and everything that comes along with being a husband, being a father, providing support. What what made you confident to go all in on your purpose and your dream?
Well, it was a giant leap of faith. I mean, faith is something that I rely on very, very heavily, and I just wanted something different for my life because as fun as it was running the food truck, as great as it was in banking, getting promoted, making lots of money, you know, uh,
Mhm.
every that came at a cost, and most of it was the cost of time with my family,
Mhm.
and some of those relationships, you know. Uh, they suffered during
Yeah.
that stretch, namely with my daughters, and I just saw the impact that was having, and I felt very, very called to do something different, even though I didn't know exactly what that was yet. I knew that it was going to be in the business space and helping business owners in a way that my unique experience could do. So,
Great. When did you make that leap? How long ago was that?
early 2021s, kind of
Okay.
after all the COVID stuff and
Yeah.
whatnot. So,
No, good. So now let's fast forward to today, right? You're working with small businesses. You mentioned. Is there a particular niche, or is it certain revenue range, or what is kind of what's your ideal
so.
client or avatar uh,
Mhm.
out there?
So small to mid-sized businesses,
Okay.
kind of that 2 to 50 employee range. But I work with some sole entrepreneurs as well as some businesses that tip the scales on the 50 employee range.
Yeah.
And really, what I love most is I work with businesses and nonprofits of all industries, just because there are some common denominators and things about business that remain the same regardless.
Yeah.
Uh, of who I'm working with. So, but first and foremost, I only coach the willing. So, so it is one of those things that
Right.
someone has to be interested in not only growth, but growing things the right way, getting very honest about where things are at right now. What things they do great at, when things where there's some blind spots, and really, really digging in and figuring out, okay, what is the right next step forward?
Yeah. No, I love that you say that. So many times, especially when you're young in business and you're just starting out, or maybe it's your first venture or whatever. A lot of times we get into things that because we need to put food on the table, we need to generate revenue to pay bills. We have to all these little things. So sometimes we often get into these niches or down these wrong tracks and pursue those that aren't the willing, right? Necessarily,
Yeah.
or that ideal client. Same for us. When we come in, whether it be bookkeeping, accounting, tax prep, or where we like to live mostly is in the strategy, mostly tax strategy, but some business strategy, just based on our experiences and our knowledge of different industries. Probably coincide with a lot of what you do, but
hmm
it's like you have to be willing, right? And if you really want value out of anything, whether it's business coaching or tax strategy, you have to buy in to that concept and be fully vulnerable and let ego aside. I find that ego a lot of times, even in the tax strategy world, right? It prevents people from moving forward. And it's because maybe it's hard for us to admit that we haven't done things right in the past. We've made mistakes. We don't want to admit to them. We don't want somebody else that uh, can help us run our financial side of the business better than we can. It's just that ego gets in the way of so many things. Is that something that when you say willing participants, I'm sure it's similar, but ego probably plays a role in your world as well, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, you need a certain level of confidence to
Yeah.
uh, start a business from nothing and go forward. But yeah, I mean, there is navigating some of the ego, some of the things that people aren't as good at. So there's a lot of vulnerability in
Yeah.
owning and running a business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that might you've done your best along the way, but sometimes there's some cracks in the foundation that the general public does not see,
Yeah.
but we've got to dig in and figure it out.
Yeah. For me, and I'm guilty of that as well. That ego kind of creeping in and admitting, that sometimes our biggest strengths are also our biggest enemies or weaknesses. And I say
Mhm.
that because it takes that desire, that passion, that confidence, that ego to a certain extent to jump out there and be on your own and do your thing and learn and find solution or solve problems, all these things. But that same mentality is also the one that blocks you from getting advice, maybe from folks just like you, because you don't know my industry. How are you going to
Mhm.
tell me what I need to do? Right.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. And absolutely. And I'm glad you bring that up because I'm not going to come into your business and tell you how you should be filing taxes. I
right.
let my clients be the industry expert. I'm just guiding along the principles, and I learn a lot about so many different industries, and I love it. But I'm wanting to stay true to those principles of business that are common, consistent, that
Yeah.
do lead to business health.
Right. So let's dive into that a little bit. You have this client, they're willing, they've come to the table, they're saying, okay, I want you to help me, Jason. Where do we start and what's the path we go through? Is it a
Mhm.
similar path that you run most clients through, like you're a system?
Mhm.
That's probably different for each industry, but the same steps, right?
For sure, and really in the first 3 to 6 months, it's highly defined. We've got a curriculum that we developed that we really just want to kind of take a look at all aspects of the business
Hmm.
and the owner as well too. Kind of what are their personal goals? Help them to identify what are how to goal set. What are some of the goals, and really trying to pull out what is the knowledge on the financial side of things, where are they spending the time, are there great habits they're looking to instill, are there habits they need to break, what are their strengths as an individual and as a leader, and what does the team look like, is there cohesion, is there lots of turnover, what and just kind of getting a good sense in all areas of where the business is at. And it's really just kind of the groundwork phase that we take every client through.
Okay.
And then from there, we kind of identify what are the things that we need to focus on most while, while keeping an eye towards those future goals. And it's really just a process where we dig in. We meet every single week in the beginning, because one of the first habits to instill is that weekly accountability meeting where we'll look back at last week, looking forward to the next week, and what are some of the wins, challenges, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just those small intentional little steps
Yeah.
that lead to accomplishing amazing things.
Right. So you go through this process and everybody's moving forward. You say you look at some of their challenges. Let's kind of, we're in the financial world. Um, you know, what we do is four pillars, right? We focus on four pillars, and we don't have to do them for all of our clients, but there's four pillars that we can help a business solve. One is the bookkeeping and accounting. Right. We consider that more of the control function of the financial side of the business, where you're taking current and historical data, you're accounting for it, putting it in the proper places in your chart of accounts, so you have a proper balance sheet, profit and loss statement, comparatives, that sort of thing. Um, Pillar two is more strategies. I'd say more in line with CFO type work. CFO is it seems like it's a word thrown all over the internet this day and age, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's levels to it. There's different services but from my viewpoint, a CFO is from now forward looking, right? It's
Yeah.
taking that data that the control function has provided, using it to make decisions. So our decisions are 98% based on fact versus emotion, right? As we're
Right.
making financial decisions for the business. And it's projecting and budgeting and tracking those things to make sure that um, the business is moving forward and they're intentionally thinking and guiding it as they go. Three is the tax strategy and planning. So two and three, you can't really do without one, the
Hmm.
control function. And then four is a compliance piece, the sales tax, the income tax, that sort of thing. How deep do you dive in when you're working with clients into the financial side of it? I know you got banking experience. It's probably a big part of your life. I'm sure you got finance background, that sort of thing. How far do you dig in, and what are some of the challenges that you see most small businesses making in that regard?
For sure, that's a great question, and it can vary based on client. But a lot of times, what we'll do in the initial stages is I'll take a look at their profit and loss from the last couple of years, and have them walk me through it. Because as people can put things in a lot of different categories that may or may not fit. So
Mhm.
that's just kind of an exercise I get to help me understand their finances, but also get an understanding of how much they know their finances,
Mhm.
and and then ultimately taking a deeper dive, and are there non-performing expenses? Because what I see early on, within the first few years and sometimes beyond, is that, okay, I need to go sign up for this thing and sign up for this thing, and all of a sudden we're spending $3,000 a month on softwares and programs where we're either not utilizing it at all, or we're utilizing it 10%, or we've got a bunch of duplicates. So really trying to figure out, okay, what do we actually need at this point?
Mhm.
But then getting people over the hump of understanding finances to the point that they can make decisions, as well as being great partners. Because I don't give tax advice, I
Right.
don't, do all of those things. But what I feel passionate about is helping my clients be great partners for
Yeah.
their bookkeeping, for their accounting professional, so they can be an active participant.
No, that's fantastic. I know, a lot of times we run into situations, especially on the tax side, it's that pain first, right? Um,
Hmm.
when we typically get folks, they have a pain. Maybe it's because they owe too much this year, right? Their business experienced growth, and it changed their whole, um, situation from a tax standpoint. So they get that surprise at the end, saying, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't live like this anymore and wait till 3 months after the end of the year to find out what I'm going to owe." Right. So then
Right.
that'll prompt some calls. But a lot of time we find that folks just aren't diligent about keeping track and on top of their financial in the business, and most of their decisions, like the multiple subscriptions, the softwares, the everything, with social media and all these influencers telling you, you need this, you need this, you need this, it becomes like, okay, I need it. You're getting
Mhm.
pictures by a Lamborghini and a Ferrari and all this stuff on social media. It must work for you, so I got to get it. It's the
Mhm.
emotion side of it, right? There's no um, fact-based decision making. They're not reviewing their financial statements to say, okay, this is making sense. This is where I need to pour more dollars, that sort of thing. So um, I'm glad that you guys dig in, because a lot of coaches don't look at the financial side of it. It's really a sales and marketing game. So that's an important piece.
Right.
And I'm like you. I mean, I'm not a coach, right? I can guide and try to teach people lessons, but I'm
Mhm.
not a business coach, so to speak. So
Mhm.
um, leaving that area, and actually some clients, they have multiple business coaches.
Yep.
I just went through a couple last week where their business coach had to meet with me and go through our proposal before we did work with them. right? So, I mean,
Yep.
that's a big deal. And I know business coaching is great, and I've got several clients that have significantly benefited from it, and I benefit from it personally.
Mhm.
You know,
Awesome.
well, so I mean, I use coaching, more individual coaching, and mastermind groups and things like that.
Mhm.
It's a big piece. What so in the world that we live in, the tax strategy and planning and finance, we're going to be running into a lot of people this year,
Mhm.
in
Yep.
the next 3 or 4 months, right? What is a sign that maybe myself or my team can look for and say, hey, you might need to speak with Jason or someone like him to, just be better overall from a business standpoint?
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the things is as people are looking at their financial reports and their statement, they look at that profit and loss. It's like, congratulations, it shows you profited $100,000. Cool. Where is it? And just really being able to partner with them and help them and align our strategies together towards making sure we're moving in the right direction. The other thing too is business, you know, just got hard, over the past, you know, 5, 6, years. And what worked for many in the past, it just isn't working anymore. And people have kind of plateaued and they've had to kind of revisit some initial strategies. And I've really kind of helped a lot of clients through that process of getting back to the basics. So clients that have maybe plateaued or, or they're experiencing substantial growth and they've just outgrown their current systems. Because a lot of business coaching is just navigating the complexities of growth.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and I
that's
think, yeah, good.
yeah. It's like, and it's ever changing, right? And
Mhm.
businesses go through seasons, much like, for us, we've gone through seasons, and you have to adapt and change. So, and we feel ourselves moving forward and growing, but then we're constantly looking for those efficiencies of how to deliver better value more timely. And you say go back to basics. Uh, Most of the time, that's the answer,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
I mean, that I've come across. And when I say basics, is in the accounting and CPA and tax world, you've got two things. Everybody and their brother is advertising on social media as a fractional CFO or a tax strategist.
Mhm.
Now, some of them are. Some of them are just bookkeepers and they prepare tax returns. There's a
Right.
difference. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of your traditional brick and mortar CPA firms, the CPA profession, the talent, the folks, the CPAs themselves are aging out.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to be a CPA anymore. Systems can automatically record transactions. They can do a lot of things via technology to increase these efficiencies. Um, what I've found, and we can do those things. What I found that's missing link from all these competitors is communication,
100%.
and how much communication is important to eliminating uncertainty. So
Mhm.
people are living in this world of uncertainty. They don't know what they owe for taxes. They're not getting any calls from their CPA. They're just wait to the last minute, give them the stuff, get it done. There's no communication, and there's this uncertainty that adds this level of anxiety and fear, and all this stuff within us. And I found that if we communicate with our clients, so we've spent a lot of time and effort in enhancing our systems and processes that provide an avenue for constant communication or prompt communication. Our clients now text us into a CRM
Mhm.
that multiple people see. That one move has solidified relationships, increased referrals, and made our job easier because we're not chasing down emails and calls and all this, and communicating with clients. So little things, the basics, communication.
Yes.
How do we do it better? How do we eliminate that uncertainty? Communicate.
Yep. And communication shows up so often with clients when I'm working with them. It's just whether it's the one-on-ones with their team, with people on their team, whether it's a group of business owners, whether it's with their clients, and it's not just you say something once or send out one email and everybody's expected to get it.
Yeah.
Because I heard this somewhere and I can't remember exactly where, but communication isn't what is said, it's what's heard and felt and understood from the other party. And it really helped me look at communication a little bit differently. And the other aspect of it that a lot of people don't see, and a lot of business owners fall prey to this, is that inefficient communication can show up so big on the balance sheet. Not as a direct line item, but if someone starts as a one-man shop, it's their phone number and their phone is just ringing off the hook when they're not as involved in the day-to-day anymore. So they're having to call 3 people just to get 15% of the information so they can communicate back to the client, and they've become the bottleneck. And it's just there are so many aspects that effective communication can solve.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer for anybody, and with technology and systems and things, it's about adapting to it and being quicker. And I always tell everybody, whatever it is, whether it be relationships or at home, relationships with clients, though everything comes down to communication. And it's so easy for us because I know have a certain skill set and think a certain way, for us to have that same expectation of those around us, right?
Yep.
Which 99% of the time they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have to clearly articulate our expectations, clearly communicate what it is, both to the clients, to our staff, and vice versa. Right. And look at it from the receiver standpoint, understanding who's receiving it. If I were that person receiving that message, how would I interpret it? Is it clear enough? Is it certain enough? Is it giving me the information that I need to make a decision? Or right?
Yep.
So that's a constant thing that we focus on, and I'm not
Exactly.
great at it all the time. I'll be honest.
I mean, I don't think anybody's ever at a level 10 communication. I
Right.
think it's something that we always have to constantly improve. And the other thing I see with that too is that you may have 15, 20 years of experience in your trade. So many of the things that you were learning in your first 5 years, you now see as common sense. Well,
Right.
if you're responsible for training that just out of college CPA,
Yeah.
it's not common sense, and it wasn't at one time to you. So, so how can you effectively train them, and put yourself in their shoes? So,
Yeah, that's a constant challenge. Well, hey, Jason, I've enjoyed this. It's a great conversation. I know there's tons of nuggets and wisdom that people can pull from this. So I appreciate you pouring out and kind of sharing your story and some gems out there that businesses at least can start thinking about. That there's people out there that can help them remove roadblocks, get over obstacles, maybe things in their business, or if they're stagnant or whatever. Business coaches can definitely help. So we're entering 2025 right now, right? It's
yep.
2025, different administration. I don't know about you, but in small business circles that I'm in, there's a energy that I can kind of feel, whether it happens or not. I think the economy, the opportunity for businesses now is pretty strong. Going into 2025, in closing, kind of what one or two like non-negotiables that you would recommend businesses start thinking about, considering moving into the year, and then where they can reach you, social platforms, wherever they can reach you if somebody wanted to chat with you.
Absolutely. Well, I think the most important thing as we talk about leaders and business owners is just the authenticity piece. Just be yourself. You're going to be good at things. You're going to be not as good at things, and just be yourself and embrace where you're at in that journey. And I think the other thing is if you're feeling stressed out and things kind of seem out of balance, just kind of take a look at what daily routines and practices have you put into your life, both personally and professionally, and getting back into that rhythm where, it's not that it gives you more time, but gives you greater capacity to tackle hard things.
No, I love it.
And for people getting a hold of us, our website, hamerbusinesstoolbox.com. Hamer with 1 M. We've got Facebook page. We've got a LinkedIn page as well too. So find us there. Reach out on email. If you'd love to schedule a free consultation, I always love hearing business owner stories and seeing if there's a way to that we can partner together. And even if not, get to know each other. And I try to leave people better than I found them. So.
No, I love it. I love it. Jason, we appreciate you being on. Everybody, seriously, business coaching, there's tremendous value. Take it from somebody that for years thought they had all the answers and knew everything, but fell short in many regards, both personally, professionally, and everything. It kind of compounds on one another. So if you feel stuck, looking for some direction, some guidance, whatever, reach out to Jason. Have a conversation. He's not going to charge you for a couple minutes of conversation or whatever. And maybe you find that, partnering up with him is the right move for you to kind of enhance your business. But more importantly than that, and he hit on it at the end, is your routine. What are you doing each and every day to make yourself better? And in turn, your business becomes better because you're a better person. So I love that stuff. If you ever need any help with the financial side of things, tax strategy, financial strategy, simple bookkeeping, everything, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. And if it's not something that we can do, we do have a database of people that can. So again, appreciate you guys listening. I know you took some nuggets from this, implement them, and execute. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Chad.